Hi, everybody, and welcome to our Tips from the Top call for Thursday, April the 12th. My name is Chris Whitaker, and I'm one of the field development and training managers here at One Hope. I'm super excited that you're taking time out of your day to share with us as you learn some tips from some of the top leaders in the company. Today, we have someone who is no stranger to any of you. Jes Landau is very well known in our community because she is one of our senior executive directors, and she is also one of our top team builders, or impact builders, as Jes likes to say. Jes is growing her team exponentially. It's pretty amazing as we watch the development of you, Jes, and we see how your team is succeeding and how motivated Jes is with helping her team succeed. Jes is also very motivated to help everybody in the community succeed. And so we're very fortunate because she's always willing to share with us what her tips are. So that's one reason why she's here with us today. Jes lives in the Bronx with her daughter, Ella, and she has the amazing support of her cute boyfriend, Mike, who many of us were able to meet in Puerto Vallarta. It's so fun following Jes's journey, which includes stepping out of her comfort zone, as she's about to this afternoon, and embracing vulnerability, which she's going to tell you what she's doing this afternoon because I've asked her to tell you guys. Today, Jes is going to share with you how bookings are the heartbeat of your business. So you guys don't need to hear from me. You need to hear from Jes. So Jes, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's always exciting. I love, we talk probably every week and we talk about a lot of different things, but one of the things that we don't always talk about are bookings and your tastings and stuff, because we're talking about more leadership things and things about your team and the way that your team works and how can you work with your team better. So thanks so much for spending time today to share with everybody about something so basic. So Jes, I just want to start with, why do you book tastings?
Okay, so the reality is, in this business, tastings, like as Chris just said, is the heartbeat of your business. If you don't have tastings, it's really, really hard to continue to grow, both in your personal business and your team business. I always tell everybody on my team, literally tastings fix every problem in this business. So if you need more sales, you need to book a tasting. If you need more tastings, you need to book a tasting. If you want to build your team of impact, you need to book a tasting. You're going to meet people. If you want to get into the corporate world, you need to book a tasting and ask all those people what they do. It's an easy in. If you want to get into nonprofits, you need to book a tasting and ask people who they are connected to and what they're passionate about. So 110%, booking a tasting is everything in this business, and it is the easiest and fastest way to make money. I don't personally get distracted by the shiny things of corporate and all that other stuff for myself. But when it comes to wanting to really hit my numbers and get the job done, tastings is literally the way to go. And I just can't say it enough. Go book a tasting. It solves everything.
That's great. It's funny that you say that, because so many times we say recruiting is the answer. And here you are, the top recruiter or top impact builder in the company right now. And the thing is that you can't do that unless you have tastings, because that's where everything happens. So you're so right. I mean, that's why this is so authentic coming from you, because it's not just that you're out there and all you're doing is bringing people on board. You're actually, walking the walk. You're doing it where it happens. You're also very consistent with it. So how do you ensure your consistency in booking your schedule?
Okay, so a couple tips that I have for this is, one, I think it's really important that you always know your schedule. So that way, when you have somebody who's interested or you want to approach somebody about tastings, in your calendar when you can do tastings. So for example, for me, I try to always book Friday nights because that's the night my daughter is with her father. So for me, it's the easiest. I don't have to rely on a babysitter. I don't have to ask my parents for help. That's the day that I go to. So definitely know in your calendar, highlight the days. So when you're able to offer somebody a tasting, what dates are available. Always offer two, by the way. I don't know if I'm allowed to just add that in there. I never just say, when do you want to have a tasting? I offer people specific dates. So I have either April 28th or April 29th. It's kind of like my daughter. I don't offer her what she wants for dinner. You can have A or B. Not that I can make many other options, but it's A or B. So same with a tasting, you get A or B. This way you're in control of your calendar. The other thing that I do is I'm constantly updating my why not list. I think this is something that's really important. Whether you've been with the company for 2 years or you just started yesterday, it's important to recognize that your brain naturally refigures out, or whatever the words I'm looking for, who's a hot lead versus a cold lead. So I'm constantly going through, I keep it all on my phone, which if I ever lose this thing, I'm in so much trouble. But I'm constantly in the notes section, writing down anybody who pops to mind right away. I use emojis as like a highlight for somebody who is a hot lead, so I don't forget about them in that huge list. It's very technical how I do this. But it's really important that you constantly are keeping track of this why not list, because somebody you might have met 4 months ago is not going to necessarily be like in your, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, your vision right away, versus someone you met at a tasting last night. So biggest thing, always, always, always keep track of that. If you have to do it in multiple notebooks, which I've done at times for that too, do it. I sometimes do it in my calendar in the months that I want people to book a tasting, so I visually see it as well. The other thing is at tastings, I make sure to ask people there, because that's the quickest and easiest way to actually book a tasting. Is people are seeing the impact you're making, they're in the mood, they're having fun. That's like the best time to really focus in on booking. You're already there trying to make money, right? So like for me, if I'm at 2 hours on that Friday night, that's the best time to maximize everything. And that's the time that I'm going to naturally ask every single person if they want to host a tasting.
Perfect. When and how do you ask when you're at the tasting for the booking?
Okay, so in my group hello, I mention it. I think it's important to kind of plant the seed, let them know, if you're having fun tonight, let me know at checkout, because we could totally do something similar for you and your girlfriends. And then at checkout, I ask them also. And I specifically do it as I'm writing down their credit card, because I don't have to make eye contact. And I know that sounds so silly, but it feels way more natural instead of just like staring them straight in the eye and saying, hey, you want to host? If you're looking down, writing the credit card information, and you just say, by the way, are you interested in doing something similar with your girlfriends? I don't even ask them to host. I actually just say something similar. That's exactly what I say.
I love that. I love that language, because I think sometimes people get afraid of the word host, or they get afraid of the word join, or, book, the word book. So saying what comes natural for you is perfect. And I think it is always about, if they had fun, why wouldn't they want to do something similar with their girlfriends? And so that sounds, like a great approach. And other people may want to be more direct, or they may challenge themselves to be more direct in talking and looking at someone in the eye, but that can be uncomfortable too. So it's clear that you make people feel comfortable.
Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So switching gears a little bit, because I know that other people are probably thinking of questions already too that they'd like to ask. Can you give an example of how you build a relationship with your host after she books from you?
Sure. So one thing to point out is when I ask somebody to host a tasting, I don't explain everything right then to them. It gives me another reason to be able to reach out to them. So like at a tasting, if someone says yes, I'll say that's fantastic. What days of the week are best for you? And I'll just make a note to myself, and I'll let them know that I'm going to text them the next day. And I'm going to explain to them then how the whole process works. I have found that less is always more in my business, that if I go and give too many details about things, whether it's booking, selling, whatever, it becomes too much and I get frantic, and it's not, I always say be authentic. It's not authentic to me. So less is more. So I end up letting them know the next day exactly how it works. And I offer them the dates that are available. Okay. I am not the queen of hostess coaching. This is actually, and I told Chris I was a little bit nervous about this question, because I think that this is an area in my business that I probably might not be the best to listen to. But the things that I do think help is I selfishly always tell my host to keep everything very simple at a tasting. So there's a couple things I do. One is I have her keep everything simple, and reason I do that is because anybody who I'm going to meet at her tasting, I want them to see how simple this is, that it's not an over-the-top situation. We don't need a million pairings. If somebody doesn't like brie cheese, they're not going to have the brie cheese even if I tell them it goes well with sparkling brew. So just keep it simple. I tell them to invite people the way that they communicate with their friends. So I personally do not use our invite system. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on a actual call.
Yeah.
Lisa said she doesn't either. So thank you, Lisa, for backing me up.
What do you use?
So I actually still use Red Stamp, which I know we don't have a partner with them anymore, but it is a really easy app where you can put in all the information. You can tell people to save the date, give the link and everything. I use that, and I make the little image and I let them know that they can text it out, because I find that nowadays people really just text. They don't really pick up the phone and call. Even if I set up a Facebook, event, I feel like people kind of ignore it because they're invited to so many nowadays. I do give them an email that they can edit and adjust and say, like, save the date. But really, between email and text, I'm assuming that that's going to be the two ways that they're going to contact their friends the most. Mm-hmm. And I always encourage my hosts to actually tell their friends to bring a friend. That's one big tip to help with your numbers. Bring a friend along. It's wine. It's give back.
Yep.
You're going to make a new friend in the process.
Yeah, that's great. So I think you were talking about your invitation process. And was there anything else you wanted to say about that before I asked you the question about how you invite?
Oh,
sorry.
I liked it. Look at you go, girl. No, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is I ask my host to invite the way that her friends are going to respond.
Uh-huh.
I told you a little bit about, there's this new invitation system that I'm working out with.
Mm-hmm.
See if it's working. It's a free app, but it only lets you invite 10 people at a time. But if you guys want to check it out, it's called Hobnob, something to look into. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but again, Red Stamp and an image that people can text out tends to be the easiest way. Couple days before the tasting, I do reach out to my host, make sure I find out what the numbers are that are coming. If the numbers are low, I again encourage her to tell her guests to bring a friend.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like you've got, even though you feel that you're not very good at host coaching, you actually are doing some very good, very focused things that are working out really well, because number one, you have hosts who keep their dates. You have very successful tastings. You're recruiting at your tastings. So obviously things are working. And sometimes we think we're not doing enough, or we're not doing what we need to do. But it sounds to me like you're getting to know your host. You're understanding how she communicates with her friends. You're understanding what she and her friends like, right down to the type of cheese that they're going to, eat, or the snacks that they're going to have. So that's going to be able to tailor, maybe your wine that you bring as well, which she's going to be ordering. So don't sell yourself short there. I love that you want to grow in this area, because I think it's a great area for everybody to grow in, even those of you like yourself that are at the very top. That's awesome, Jes. Yeah. So just to wrap up my questions, I would like to know, what are you doing this afternoon?
I have a tasting that I'm totally intimidated by. I'm going to be real honest with you guys. Yeah. So as you guys know, I'm super crazy casual, and I have a tasting today with Halstead for to meet between 40 and 50 people, and they want like a straight up talk in between each wine type of tasting, and that is so not my style. So I'm going way out of my comfort zone here. They do have I just confirmed she finally answered this question. They do have a nonprofit that they work with. So this was one of my fears, was I'm going to go there and they're not going to realize that they're supposed to be buying wine, and that I'm trying to partner up with them for client gifts and personal use. So I was really excited to find out that they do have a nonprofit. So I'm going to really zone in and focus on that. And I'll report back to you guys how it goes, but this is really out of my comfort zone. Like, I got my hair done and I have makeup on. Like, I got dressed for this, people. This is real deal here.
That's great. That's awesome. Congratulations. We can't wait to hear about it. So I know there's a couple people that have been making some comments in the chat. I think most of them are like, you got this, Jess, and stuff like that. And then Ken also did remind us that just this past month, Red Stamp actually closed its doors.
What?
Yeah, so we're all sad about
What
that
am I
because
gonna
what a
do?
great tool Red Stamp has been. However, it's going to be really cool for us to be able to explore some of these other avenues. And you told us about Hobnob and that
Yeah.
might be something that that's a way to go. So we'll see about that. But I'm going to go ahead and open up for our callers. I'm going to open up the lines. Just a word of warning, everybody. I'm taking you off of mute. That means that if you do have background noise, we might see what you're doing in the background if your video's on. So you might want to mute yourself once again, once I unmute you, but I want to make sure that you guys can ask Jess some questions as well. So you're all unmuted right now. Does anyone have a question for Jess?
Oh, I'm wondering if I should send it to the tennis center, although she's going to be home.
I'm just going to say, have fun, Jess. You're going to have a great time today. I love you. I got to go get my hairs did.
Thanks, Lori P. I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, perfect. Oh,
Box me.
But
Done.
actually, what I might send her, hold on.
I'll definitely try to make Hobnob work. So this is, I gotta tell you guys, telling me about Red Stamp proves that
Yes. Oh, and
constantly learning in this business.
with glitter.
Here I am
So it's
preaching Red Stamp and I didn't even know it's gone.
That's right. That's right. I hear somebody selling in the background, so I'm going to find out who that is.
Oh, so cute. So cute. That's perfect.
I don't know who. Somebody's selling in the background. They're doing a really good job. But in the meantime,
Lisa asked me, where did I find the group?
Oh, good. Did they have a shower?
But I'm not sure what group you're talking about.
was it the group that you're going to be working with today, maybe?
Oh, with the real estate group? Okay, so this is actually,
Oh, and for her
this
baby?
is again about connections. So I actually have to thank the Mike for this. So he actually gives out wine through our corporate gifting process. And somebody he has given wine to, sure enough, works at Halstead and loved it. And now I'm on my way in there. So I really believe in networking. Like, sometimes it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know, and people who will really go to bat for you.
Oh, yeah. So networking's huge. That's something that a lot of people need to become very comfortable with, asking for referrals, making sure that you're telling people what you're doing, putting yourself out there, creating a buzz. I mean, that's so important. Great tip. Yeah, Mike's a great person to network with. So I encourage everybody to get to know him.
He's a good guy. No complaints.
What did you do last week?
Oh, last week I was in Texas. Yeah.
And you were doing tastings, right?
I was. And so I had 3 tastings in Texas. And this is actually a good point about networking. Whoops, my laundry's done. So this is a good tip about networking, is that of those 3 tastings that I found in Texas, one of them was somebody that I went to high school with, but the other 2 were from actually just asking other people if they knew anybody. And so my one on Thursday was a girlfriend's girlfriend, and the other one on Friday was somebody's sister who had hosted for me previously. So 100% when you're talking about networking and not being shy to share what you do, people want to be part of this. And even if they don't want to physically be part of One Hope, they do want to help you grow your business and connect you with other people who will help you believe in this too.
That's great. So when it comes to bookings, we know that we can work our business anywhere. So people, get out of your homes. If you're watching the Facebook, trying to watch Kaz today, you know that she's trying to share with everybody that it's about getting out and about to recruit too. So you have to get out from behind your computer and see people face to face and reach out to those people that you know and go sometimes to where they are. You can certainly work really, really well in your own backyard, but how nice is it when you can introduce this to an area where it's brand new? So congratulations on that, Jess.
Thanks. Well, keep you posted how it all turns out.
Perfect.
Still following up with everybody.
Yeah. Well, does anyone else have any questions for Jes?
I think I'm off the hook.
Off the hook. No, you're never off the hook with us. Well, you can either type in the chat or unmute yourself and go ahead and ask a question. And if not, I've got some reminders. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and share some reminders with you guys. Jes, first of all, thanks so much for sharing what you're doing. This has been very informative, very efficient, because we've only been together about 20 minutes right now on this call, but it's amazing because there's been so much information that's been shared. And as you guys know, as Jes mentioned, bookings are the heartbeat of your business. You do need to have tasting so that you can do everything you want to do in your business. If you want to grow your team, if you want more bookings, if you want corporate gifting accounts, if you want, you're talking about branding today, possibly with a huge real estate firm, just meeting anybody to be able to further your business, it's going to happen at the tasting. One more thing that can happen at a tasting too is as you're building your team, and especially if you're a newer director or you're just a new sponsor, have that new CEO go with you to your tastings. If she or he can go with you to the tasting, then you don't have to spend as much extra time with training, because training can also happen at the tasting. And it also shows everybody that's there at the tasting that you are someone who works with your team members. So it shows that you have a culture of training, and then there's also a culture of learning. So it's really a great thing to do. I just want to remind you guys that we are doing the recruiting bootcamp this week. I hope you're having fun with it. Thank you, Jes, for sharing your tips yesterday. And every day at 12 o'clock or around 12 o'clock, we are having a leader come to you live, sharing why you want to share the opportunity and some top tips on how to share the opportunity. I believe that Kaz finally made it back on. She was trying to be crafty and be out and about. And so I think she had to go home to actually do this live. But, the importance of really focusing on building your team right now is because, number one, when you build your team, you have a lot more fun in the business. It's so fun to be able to share this with other people. And you know what? It really helps you spread your impact. So keep that in mind that, you can do it by yourself, but why do it by yourself? We can have other people doing it alongside you. And so for that reason, we're offering an extra special gift in our starter kits this month with the water bottle. We're also offering double points for those of you who are working very hard towards the Crush incentive. So this is definitely the month to bring people in so that you can get double points when they sell their first $1,000 or when they sell their cumulative $1,000 all the way up until the end of the qualification period, which is the end of June, I think. Yeah, I don't know why all of a sudden I was unsure about that, but sometimes that happens to me. I also want to remind you guys that we had a Facebook Live event last night, which over 100 people were watching the live video, but I think we saw something like over 900 views. So I don't really know what that means, but all I know is that we're creating a buzz. We're creating an impact right now. You have an opportunity to go back and show that to people that you're talking to about the business, and they can see the entire live video. They can read through our posts from the event, and it's just a great way for you to be supported in your efforts in building your teams. Also, we're going to be doing another Facebook Live opportunity event in 2 weeks. We're going to bring those to you twice a month, every month except for July, because we'll be at Crush one of those weeks. So just know that that's a service that we're going to be offering. So as you're talking to people and building up your pipeline of people who are future impactors, we'd love to be able to have you guys join us for those. And finally, I just want to remind you that registration for Crush is open. It's still open. It is now $249 and $100 in your back office in credits that you're going to get. It's still an incredible deal because we have it jam-packed full of great speakers, great training, It's going to be an experience that's over the top, and we want everybody there. And as announced last night on the live, any new CEOs who have joined us from April 7th on, if they decide to come to Crush, if they register for Crush in their first 30 days, they will get the early bird pricing that just ended on Friday of $199 and with $200 in credits in their back office. And we're offering that so that we can help our newest CEOs, have that experience as well. So lots of great things going on. Thanks again, Jes. Thanks everybody for spending time with us today. And I look forward to the next time that we can get together. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
All right. Knock 'em dead today, Jes.
Fingers crossed.
Go get 'em.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.